Today's video is the fourth part of the Essentialism book. This is where we're going to end the book. So I'm just going to go through the prompts that I have created for myself about what's going on in this last chapter of the book and go through those different parts. So I'm going to start off by reading the first question. How do you currently manage your time and energy? And do you leave enough margin for unexpected events or opportunities? I think that's something I do honestly really well. And some clients that I work with, that's the biggest struggle most people have is when they schedule out things, they forget the in-between time. So when I think about a calendar, whenever I do my calendar scheduling for the week, I always buffer in how long things are in between. So an example would be if I have to drive somewhere, I put that driving time in my calendar. That guarantees me that I know, I roughly know how long it's going to take me to drive there. And so because of that, I can go ahead and okay, this is going to take 15 minutes to do. So I put that in my calendar. Same thing with eating. I actually over buffer for eating. So I usually think maybe eating will take me about 30 minutes. So then I'll go 45 minutes for my eating window. If I get back to work earlier, great. But I want to have that buffer in there just in case. And a lot of times I honestly start eating late because I'm kind of into a project and kind of forget that's time to eat. So that will slow me down too. So I want to make sure I put these buffers in there. Some new things that I've personally been adding is follow-up from meetings. Forever, I'd never really put follow-up time after a meeting. And so it sounds kind of stupid, but to me, it was one of those things where it's you don't know if you're going to need follow-up time. So I just didn't really buffer it in. And there's very few meetings I have anymore that I don't want to have a little follow-up time or some reflection on that meeting. So I've been building in those buffers for that time. And also something new I've been adding is I'm actually adding buffers between windows or between meetings where I don't want to have a meeting right after the last meeting. So an example, if I have a meeting from 1 to 2, now on my calendar it puts an automatic 15-minute buffer after that, so somebody can't book in until 2:15. That gives me time to recover from the meeting. Personally, meetings exhaust me. I don't know why that is. I think it's because I like to be productive, and a meeting feels unproductive to me, even though a lot of the meetings I'm having are with clients, and they're not just wasted times or us either doing a sale or helping somebody build a website or something like that. And it's they're valuable meetings, but they still for some reason exhaust me. And so having that little bit of buffer in between, I don't like to go straight into another meeting. So that's really helped me out a lot. My calendar management is one of my best skills, and working with some different clients that I'm working with right now on the business coaching side of things. Mainly people are needing me for that priority focus and the time to organize their schedules, really what I'm getting a lot of people that need help with. It's not something I ever really wanted to do as business coaching, and I don't really think I am doing business coaching. I'm doing accountability and priority coaching because I think that's what most entrepreneurs struggle with, and that's my area of expertise. I'm not going to be a person that comes up with 1,000 ideas, but I'm going to be a person that implements one idea really, really, really well. And so because of that, working with these clients, that's been the thing I've had to help them with is one, how to buffer their time better, how to schedule out their time, and honestly, how to stick to the one thing and only focus on that one thing. What strategies can you implement to build more buffer into your schedule, allow for greater flexibility and resilience? So the strategies I kind of went through already that I'm already using after meetings, making sure that you give yourself some follow-up time, making sure maybe even a buffer between meetings. If you're a person that has a ton of meetings in the day, that buffer in between meetings is 15 minutes to get away from your computer to move around is really, really valuable. I think buffers for me after work are important. So I try to stop at 5 every day. It rarely happens, but I try to stop at 5 every day. And me and my wife's walk doesn't start until 5:30. And so so that gives me roughly a 30-minute time to kind of deload a little bit, give myself, okay, I'm going to make some notes for tomorrow, kind of relax a little bit, just in case I run over a little bit on time. She's not sitting around waiting on me. So putting buffers has been very valuable, even in the morning. So I used to let meetings happen at 8 a.m. and now I don't let meetings happen until 8:30. So in the morning, I either go outside and do work for 45 minutes to get my 2 45-minute movements in a day. And so I usually do work in the morning, and then I will take a shower, and then it'd be 8 o'clock, meetings could start. I've added that 30-minute buffer before meetings can start to allow me, okay, I don't have to stress myself about getting done with all those morning chores right away and popping right into a meeting and have to maybe affect my morning routine. I want to have that little bit of buffer to kind of get in, sit down, kind of get things organized. I probably don't check emails during that time because I don't want to get distracted from getting ready for that meeting if I do have one, but that just allows that little bit of buffer for me. So those are some things I personally have put in to protect myself. How can you resist the temptation to overcommit and instead prioritize your well-being and effectiveness? It's hard as an entrepreneur because you have so many hats you wear, and it's really hard to not overcommit to things because you're trying to grow a business. I know I look at Level Up, And there's so many things we could do, honestly, and so many skill sets that we have, but it's trying to like be better at the things that we're really good at, and like not adding new services until we've mastered the one service, or even have the ability to realize, heck, when we get so many customers, can we even handle more than this service? So overcommitting is something I think I still struggle with, maybe will always struggle with in certain ways. I do think reading the Essentialism book and being able to say no more often is something I've been doing good probably the last year and a half, but this book continued to remind me I need to really focus on saying no to commitments that are outside of kind of my main scope. And so that's something I don't know if there's any entrepreneur that's great at it, honestly, because we have so many things going on. But the better you can get at it and say no more often. My business partner, Danny, to use him as an example, is he has a pretty full plate. And so when he's running a gym and he's helping out me with Level Up. And so it's the ability to say no more often for him we've been working on to help him get more time with his family, which is an important thing for him, and trying to create buffers for that. So question number 2, so that's buffer was the first category, the first chapter of this for this last part. And so the second chapter is called subtract. What are some non-essential activities, possessions, or relationships in your life that are draining your resources and attention? I've done such a good job of eliminating these components of my life. But I'll go back to the things I had to get rid of to get to this point. So one thing, honestly, that was draining my energy was like living in Illinois, and moving out to Arizona has been a life changer for me, because sun is so important. I get out in the sun so much more. I just feel more engaged with the earth out here. We go hiking every weekend. And so getting out of the toxic environment of Illinois, we lived in the closer to Chicago suburbs. And so because of that, there was just like a hustle and bustle. There was just buildings everywhere. I felt like I always had to have something going on, even though I still am very productive, have everything going on all the time. But I feel like it's on my own, what I want to get done versus like what was kind of required to get done in that area. And we also just have so many more activities we can do. Possession-wise, I'm a minimalist by nature. So my wife does a good job of working on this. It's not her nature to be minimalist, but mine is to be minimalist. So I'm the type of person that throws everything away. If I haven't used it in a few months, it's gone. I do a really good job of organizing my calendar, but I also go through and organize probably every couple of weeks my to-do list, my keep list, my Google Drive. I go through and organize that. I go through and delete stuff in my download folder. What I'm trying to do is continue to take away these like extra added stresses out there, and I try to deload those things as much as possible. Non-essential activities, I don't think I have any in my life right now. I'm actually trying to get better at adding more activities to my life, things outside of business. So like I just started doing pickleball once a week with a buddy. Me and my wife go to the driving range every Friday night now. Hopefully next year we'll start golfing once she kind of gets better at, she's never really golfed, so I'm trying to teach her that. So adding more activities to my life is something I'm actually trying to do instead of non-essential activities. But the one thing that me and my wife do struggle with is TV. So, long day, as soon as the day gets over, we go for a walk, we cook dinner, we might do some like chores around the house or outside. But we're trying to, after that, it's like sit down and watch like an hour of TV. I don't love that as a activity personally, but it's something that she enjoys. And so I've kind of like fell into that category. So eliminating TV would be something I'd love to do, but instead what I have done, I've rearranged how I do TV. So when we sit down to watch TV, I'll grab out my laptop and I'll work on either something to do with the mastermind program, Level Up. I'll work on business a little bit or a personal thing. So I've added like drawing to my life. I wanted to learn how to draw, so I've been adding that as an activity. And then, that's a good time to budget finances and do those things I can do while the TV's on and it's not too distracting for me. But that is one thing I'd love to eliminate, is just like more and more TV time. We probably spend more time watching TV than I'd really enjoy. I'd love that to be maybe 4 hours a week max in terms of like including weekend, but it's probably right now we're probably closer to 10 to 12 hours a week is probably like the TV's at least on during that time. How can you begin to subtract these distractions to create space for what truly adds value and meaning to your life? Again, I don't have a lot of distractions except for the TV. That's why I've put in like recurring calendar events, like recurring with pickleball every week, golf every week. We go for a hike on the weekends. I've put in these recurring things so they're required in our calendar. So TV, we don't even think about doing TV during those times, and that kind of helps out with that component because that's the biggest distraction in our life is the television. Phone can be pretty distracting as well, but the TV by far is a bigger one. So I have to put things in recurring In my calendar, every night I have a recurring task for what I'm going to do. And I go through when I set up my day, I set up what I'm going to do that night in that block of time. That allows me to, like, instead of getting stuck on TV, like, oh, I committed to this. And then that gets me to start doing that. So that's one thing I like to have that in my calendar and telling me what I'm going to do tonight. So that way I can, like, overcome my desire to just sit down and watch whatever movie or TV show we're watching right now. What fears or attachments might be holding you back from letting go of the non-essential, and how can you overcome them? Again, I don't have a lot of non-essential things in my life, so I don't really have that many fears with that. Letting go of the TV is like just finding other activities for me and my wife to do that can take the TV out of play a little bit is more what I need. I don't know if I have any things that's holding me back from wanting to eliminate the non-essential. I don't have a lot of non-essential things in my life right now. I'm very blessed for that, but it's also taken some time to get there. You just have to, I think for this idea is you have to think about, like, what do you think you might be giving up to do that thing? Like, what's the opportunity cost on this? And the way I kind of think about most things is, like, I want to, like, pick and choose the opportunities I have in life. So not overcommitting is one thing we talked about, but the other part is like, how do I feel like I'm moving my life forward? Because, like, my biggest fear in life is not reaching my full potential. And so because of that, it's like, well, when I'm spending, 11 hours a week in front of the TV, like, am I not reaching my potential? So that's something my wife enjoys. So I want to be able to, like, share that with her, but I want to be able to still be moving towards my full potential. So my wife is a very, like, I think it's not physical touch. I can't remember which the love language is where she wants to be around, just wants me to be around. I can't remember what that one is. Quality time, I think is what it is. So quality time. So she's a really very quality time type of person. And so because of that, that's her quality time is like, as long as we're sitting in the room together, I'm good. So I can work on my computer, I can do anything on my computer, and she's good with it. So that allows me to, here's what I can do. I can do my drawing and stuff, the TV's on, that kind of stuff. It allows me to be able to still move my life forward, but also be covering the quality time that she needs from me. Okay, so the third of the questions, or the third of the chapters, is called progress. How do you define progress in your life? And are your actions aligned with your definition of success? Yes and no. I think throughout life, it's always yes and no. Progress is so hard because there's so many different areas you can make progress in. Right now, I would say my current progress goals are very in line with where I want to go. And I could say yes for the most part, but it's not always that way. So an example of that for me sometimes is weight loss is like when my parents are here, they stay with us for 3 months in the wintertime. And during that time, my progress for like my fitness goals is way off. And I would like, it's no during that time, honestly. But my progress on like my development on my relationships with my family is really, really strong during that time. So there's a lot of yin and yang, it's the idea of harmony throughout my life. So I try to set up specific goals that I want to chase during the year. Instead of setting up like a specific goal, like I'm going to reach this amount of lifts during the year. It's like, okay, today I'm going to focus on growing my shoulders. So now instead of like, okay, that's the overarching goal as a big annual goal. And then from there, each quarter, I can break that down. Like, here's the thing, I'm going to focus on this quarter to grow my shoulders the biggest I can over the next 3 months, right? Instead of being like, okay, I'm going to grow 3 inches in my shoulder, my width during this whole year. I don't know if I can actually achieve that, but I can achieve in a quarter. Like, this is what I can achieve in this quarter. For like, it wouldn't probably be inches. I'd be chasing like, how many shoulder workouts did I accomplish during this amount of time, right? So I do think, going back to that question, are your actions aligned with your definition of success? Yes, currently they are. And then my definition of success is making sure that I'm doing the habitual things to move myself forward. I've really focused hard over the last 3 years of getting rid of a lot of lagging metrics in my life and really focusing on leading metrics, which is just like, what are the things I can accomplish? What can I control? Ignore the end result because I can't control that all. And I've done a really good job of that. So I really focus all my systems for like completion and stuff are all based on accomplishment of those things, and they don't really have a true measurement always of like how much this has changed. Just like, am I doing the work? And I really focus on just doing the work. That's the part I really enjoy. Just do the work, and in the end, some kind of result will happen, and it's probably going to be, if I do it long enough, it's going to go in the direction I want it to go. What are some small incremental steps you can take towards the goals each day, even when progress feels slow or uncertain? That's exactly what I'm talking about, just doing the work. I try to set up habits that are daily, if not, it's more weekly probably for a lot of the things, but some things I try to get as much daily. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of 75 hard. That's kind of like where I live my life in that category more, which like for that, it's an Andy Frashilla thing. But the idea is you do 2 45-minute movements a day. You drink a certain amount of water, 1 gallon of water. You eat a nutrition-based diet, right? And so we have our certain diet that we follow, me and Erica do. And then you read 10 pages a day. And so I use that as like, that's one of my kind of daily metrics for a lot of things. That kind of focuses my health category and my mental fortitude category. But then I have different metrics in different parts of my life that I measure in small increment things. I call my pursuit of excellence. I have like a little tracker app where inside of there, I'm going to, I put like, okay, I want to improve my relationship with Erica right now. So the thing I want to improve is I'm going to send her a daily text while she's at work. Okay, so then every single day I can go in and check that off. I did that, I did that, I did that. So I like to have a lot of things where I check the boxes, because by checking the boxes, I'm creating a progressive incremental scale to improve this part of life. And that's like probably my number one, like my superpower is being able to check the boxes. I spend the time planning to check the boxes, and then I go through and just check those boxes off, which I find very easy to do when the plan has been laid out in a really well-developed way. One thing I have really changed on that over the last few years is the intensity. So I used to like this, I would have this grand plan. I'd have to like follow through so perfectly, and it'd be so over the top. It would be like exhausting to complete whatever it was. So now I've broken it down so much easier that like, what is the simplest thing I can do today? Like the minimal effective dose I can do today to get to tomorrow. And then that will stack up over a year. I used to be like a 3-month kind of person. Like everything's gotta be done in 3 months. And now I'm like, okay, everything's gotta be done over a year, 2 years, 3 years. I've really moved into that aspect of life. That helps when you get older. I think you realize that like, you want more out of life, and you don't want to be just focused on that one little thing. You kind of want more. And so that allows me to kind of break things down like, hey, I got, a lot more time to do this than I thought. The main thing is kind of focus on a little bit of this every single day. How can you celebrate your progress and acknowledge your accomplishments no matter how small? That's what for me is the daily kind of the pursuit of excellence tracker. It's just like every single day I check mark it, right? And then at the end of the week, it tells me percentage out of 100%, whatever the percentage I want to hit. The goal is to hit 100%. And so let's say I got 70%. Well, okay, at 70 out of 100. How do I celebrate every single day? That's probably something I struggle with. Every morning I do a journal entry that says like, what are the 3 things you did great yesterday? And that's a little bit of celebrating the day before. I do struggle a lot to figure out what that was, because like a lot of things I do are just so small. But that's the thing, is I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing, is doing the little bit of work every single day. So that allows me to kind of like celebrate my progress from day to day. But in the long run, my life is small incremental progress over a long, long period of time. So I don't really see the results for a long period down the road. And I just had to eventually get my mindset wrapped around is like, I don't care about what that end result is as much as I care about like, am I doing the work? Am I becoming the man I want to every single day? Okay, so there's 6 chapters in this. Chapter number 4 is flow. When do you feel most engaged, fulfilled, and in sync with what you're doing? When I'm on a streak. So a streak is obviously a flow, but like when I can stack multiple days together, it just feels amazing to be able to accomplish that. So I try to set my life as much as possible to be as routine. I want like every Friday, that's when we go to the driving range. Like, hey, we're gonna go to the driving range more often. Like, no, I'd rather be just like, instead of like being kind of laissez-faire about when we do it, I want to let it know every Friday is when we're going to do it. Every Sunday is when I play pickleball. I draw every Wednesday night. I really like that routine of knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. My brain kind of gets excited for those moments. Like today's content day, Tuesdays. I love Tuesdays because like I shut off everything else, and on Tuesdays I only focus on content. And it allows me to like just be focused on this. I get excited for Tuesdays because 1, I don't have any meetings, which makes me happy. And then 2, it's like, okay, now I can just focus on creation, be in that creative space. So the thing that gives me the most flow is like organizing my time so that my brain can be excited for those times that are happening. How can you create more opportunities for flow experiences in your work, hobbies, and relationships? I think the biggest thing for me is just the time commitment, committing to things ahead of time. I'm one of those people that you really can't get in my schedule the week of, honestly. What I mean by that is like if my friend's like, hey, tomorrow you guys want to get together? Like, well, no, we'd like to have that scheduled out a week ahead of time because we've already planned out our whole weekend on the weekend before almost, really. I do a lot of my planning for the next week on the Friday before. And so then that kind of like sets up that. So we like to get people on our calendar earlier because that allows us the flow of the different things we have going on in our life. And so I think the biggest thing for me to create flow in all different aspects is habitually doing things. So if I use like relationships as an example, me and my wife do our daily a couples devotional once a week. Every single week on Thursday, we read our devotional, which is not very long, like 2 pages long, have some questions go along with that, talk about that, and just have like an in-depth conversation about life and where we're going with ourselves, conversations about God, things of that nature. The flow I create is by scheduling things out. I know a lot of people hate the idea of scheduling. I don't want every minute of my life be scheduled, but like, that's not how I function. I function in the fact that like I want to reach my human potential. So because I want to reach my full potential, it's like I gotta have a plan. I can't just like go laissez-faire throughout life. I just can't be like, oh, like when this happens, this happens, this happens. Then you get done with a month, like, oh, I never did the thing I was supposed to, right? And so I just don't, that's just not how I function in life. And I think most people would function better if they were more organized with their time and committed to things ahead of time, saying, this is what I'm gonna do. Again, that's what works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. I'm just trying to tell how things work in my life as somebody that I honestly think is pretty productive overall. There's things in my life at different points in my life that haven't been moving forward. Right now, a lot of things are moving forward in the right direction. And the reason for that is because I continue to commit to like planning everything out and then executing that plan consistently. And not everything, when people say not everything in life needs to be planned out, I disagree in certain ways. And what I mean by that is like, I think you need to, if you don't plan on getting together with another couple consistently, you won't develop those relationships with them because everybody's schedule gets pretty full. So you've got to have these things planned out for you to actually take advantage of these things. And especially if you want to be around people that are doing great things, moving their life forward, they're going to have a plan. And so because they have a plan, you need to have a plan to be in their plan. So like for one of my business partners, I'm going to fly out to his place in June and spend time with him and his family. And so like, because of that, like I have to get in his schedule because he's a busy guy doing a lot of good things too. So we have to have plan this thing months ahead of time to be able to make this happen. And so that's the kind of stuff you got to have a plan to be in the right people. If you're trying to really get the 5 people surrounding you that are like doing the same thing you are, moving their life forward, you're going to have a plan to do that and get around those people. And those people have a plan in their life. And so if you want to get in my circle, you better have a plan because my life's already planned out and I'm going somewhere and I'm welcome to have people join in that plan. But the thing is, you got to schedule with me if you want to get in that plan. And so I think that's how a lot of people should function because we're going somewhere in life and we have a very short period of time to be able to do the things we want to do. And so we need to make sure we're planning that success that we're trying to accomplish. What distractions or barriers? So this is how can you create more opportunities to flow experience in your work, hobbies, relationship? We just answered that one. What distractions or barriers prevent you from entering a state of flow and how can you mitigate or eliminate them? So I do have, my phone is by far the thing that affects me the most. Running a business, a software-based business where we work with customers and like sometimes software gets funky and people need an answer pretty quickly. And so I can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to ignore my phone. I wish I could. In certain ways I do. I do have some time limits where I try not to touch it, but man, it is addicting. It's so hard to kind of avoid that component of like when somebody's trying to get a hold of you pretty quickly, especially on weekends. On weekends, I try to do my best to shut off my phone and specifically for the business side of things, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And so that's the thing that I run into in the most of my life is the phone addiction of checking it, seeing if I have to answer anything for anybody, being at everybody's kind of fingertips. I talk to a lot of people, especially like nutrition clients. When I talk to nutrition clients, I talk to them a lot about like trying to eliminate people's access to you all the time so you can accomplish things you want to do. But it's a lot easier said than done because I struggle with it all the time. So the phone by far is my biggest distraction, a thing I would love to find a way to eliminate. And someday when I have somebody maybe doing all the service component of our business, maybe I can eliminate my phone in those components more often. Chapter number 5, focus. What are the essential few goals or priorities that deserve your full attention and effort right now? So that's what I spend time in December setting up for the year. So this is kind of here's my plan, and then I'll tell you what's in that plan. So in December, I set up the plan for the year. And that's really just like, it's not truly the full plan for the year, but here are the main focuses I want to focus on this year. So I'll have something in pretty much all 10 domains. I'll have like a little thing in each of the 10 domains that I want to improve. And then I'll have some big ideas, big rocks that I want to focus on, that I want to move a certain area of my life forward this year. Because I don't think you can improve all areas at once. I think you can keep a lot of areas like consistently doing well. You can take 1 or 2 areas and really move them forward over a quarter, and especially over a year, right? So I think I started with the big picture annual plan, and then from there, each quarter kind of reflects back. Okay, based on what I was thinking at the end of last year, I want to improve my health and I want to improve my finances this year. These are two things I want to focus on. Because I want to focus on them, then the quarterly plan, I will break down. Okay, here's the things I need to do in this quarter. Break it down into like habits and things I can accomplish by the end of each month, so that I can accomplish this, and then you do that each quarter throughout the year to be able to accomplish that end goal. So depending on what the goals are, that's kind of my plan is to set it from the annual to the quarter to the weekly kind of thing, and then focus on the little things. So like this year, one of my goals is a health goal because I wanted to lose some weight. So I focused on making sure that I do 75 hard religiously well, and then the diet component is dialed in. I know exactly what the diet component is. We don't miss on the diet, right? So that's one thing. We have to make that possible is I have to do like roughly an hour to an hour and a half of meal prep and planning, not prepping, meal planning every week to make sure that we fit the current diet that we want to follow. And then with that, my wife helps out with meal prep. We have meal prep along with that to be able to make sure that happens. And then we have to make sure that we dedicate, 2 45-minute workouts a day, so that we have to kind of schedule our time out from there. And then so we're following the meal plan, doing the workouts, moving our life forward there. Another thing that's kind of big on this year is level up. I'm trying to build out the mastermind program, really grow it and get it bigger and bigger. And so I've had to commit a lot of time to seeing progress on that over the year, because we want to launch some components of it in this Q4. And so we're in Q2 right now. And so I've got to have this plan put together to make sure that I'm accomplishing that by Q4. So those are kind of the main two areas that I want to make the biggest improvements on are health, specifically weight loss, and then mastermind program. How can you minimize distractions and stay focused on these priorities, even in the face of competing demands and distractions? So our business is growing, which is an awesome thing to have, but that adds a lot of distraction. It adds a lot of little components that weren't there a year ago. And so there's a lot more clients to follow up with. There's a lot more like little emails here and there, things that we have to like answer, respond to. So the way I have helped with this component for me personally is prioritizing my time better and time blocking specific windows that can't be interrupted. So an example for that is on Tuesdays is content day. All day long is content day. I don't touch anything else on Tuesdays except for content. On Wednesdays, from 8 to 10, I block off for that is our new programs time, right? So when we build out new services into our business. So that's 2 hours blocked out in that. I try to never have that interrupted. I do allow meetings during that time from time to time, mainly because we're in the Pacific Standard Time right now, and I'm working with a lot of East Coast companies, and they need that time a little bit. So I have to give up some of those, but I do kind of like I always block that out for those 2 hours. Like that's the only thing I'm going to work on these hours if no meetings pop in. On Thursdays is mastermind design. So I spend 2 hours usually, but up to 3 hours focusing on mastermind components, building those out. And then on Fridays is the SOP block where I focus on dialing in our systems. So what I do for that is I block those 6 hours out of time plus the whole 8-hour day, roughly 10-hour day on Tuesdays for content. That allows me to, as those are blocked out, that allows me to focus on those main things and moving those main things, which are the biggest components of our business, forward. And all the time outside of that, yes, if I can keep working on those things, great, but that's where the time that I dedicate to the clients. So I know I'm only going to move our business forward so many hours a week. I have to be okay with that because the business still has to function. I still work inside of my business. There's very few people that work completely outside of the day-to-day business, and the ones that do probably have a high payroll, and I don't want to have that higher payroll, honestly. I'm always going to have a good part of my business where I'm going to be working inside the business. It's okay. That's the way I designed this business. I want to work in the day-to-day because I want to create this level of service that's next level, but I still need to move our business forward as well. So that's why I have to dedicate those 4 days a week, different priority blocks for those things. And the reason the content day is such a long day is because it's something that I haven't done great at over the time. So I've had to really focus. I'm only going to do content during this time to help grow our business, get this stuff out, become better and better at content. And that's why I give that a whole day. In the future, I'm hoping to knock that down to only maybe 4 hours a week. But the idea is that I have to give it a full day because it's something that I've neglected and I'm not great at. The other days, I'm actually really good at those things and building those components out. So I can be a little bit tighter on my time window, my 2-hour time window, because I can stay focused on those more often. So those are that's kind of how right now I minimize distractions. And then the third question for this one was, what habits or routines can you cultivate or strengthen to strengthen your ability to concentrate and maintain focus over time? Calendar is really the biggest thing. I'll be honest, the thing I use I probably shouldn't be using as much. So I use an energy drink, specifically Ghost, has really helped me lock in and dial in during those priority blocks. There's nothing I found that focuses me more. However, it's also not, I don't want to be addicted to caffeine and doing that all the time, but it has been a tool that has helped me out a lot. I think the other thing that I've done, besides putting out the priority blocks, is kind of letting people know that I don't really try to be interrupted during those times. And because of that, I'm not checking my phone during that time. Now, I do check my phone more than I want, and that's something I'm working on right now, is getting rid of checking my phone during that 2-hour block. But it's just that addiction of, but what if somebody needs me right now? So it's trying to get rid of that component, but that is kind of how I blocking things out and letting people know that these are blocked out and these don't get touched. That's kind of the best tool I've had right now. It's probably gonna be the best tool for me long term as well. Okay, this is the last chapter of the whole book. So this book is an awesome book. I love this book. So here's the last part of it. It's called Be. How can you cultivate a deeper sense of presence and mindfulness in your daily life? That's the whole idea of why you do essentialism, is like it's trying to connect yourself with the day-to-day. This is something me and my wife talk about a lot, is I want to continue to get myself, and she's the same way, get ourselves focused on just living today. Like, let's forget about tomorrow. Let's forget about yesterday. Let's just focus on living today. That's all we can possibly do. And it's so like top mind. It's like, oh my gosh, it's such a good idea, but it's so hard to do. And it is so hard to do. One thing that's really helped me in that is grounding myself in faith and, talking to God a lot and have conversations with God. That has helped me keep myself way more in the moment, way more in the day. 75 Hard honestly has been really helpful for me too over the last, I've been doing it mainly this year, but I've done it in the past too. But whenever I do, I feel like I'm really focused on just getting the things done today that I need to get done, which has been really helpful. And that's why I'm going to continue to do 75 Hard for quite some time, because for me, it's just helps me stay grounded in the day-to-day. And I really don't want to look too far in the future. As entrepreneurs, it's so easy to look far down the road. Like at the end of this year, if we have this much finance, we can do this. But all I can do is focus on what I'm doing today. So how do I do that? Faith is the one thing that's really helpful. Priority blocking and stuff has helped me as well. Stay focused on here's the progress I need to do. Planning by far is probably the best thing. Is like I spend time every single week, at least an hour, probably up to 3 hours, depending on what time of the month it is. So like at the beginning of the month, I spend less time, but as the month rounds out to the end, I'm kind of prepping for next month. So because of that, I will spend a little bit more time. And then at the end of the quarter, I spend even more time planning. But planning is a game changer for me. It has been for a couple of years now. And still like this is the thing, like every year I get better and better at the planning. And if you're starting off with planning, like it's hard. It's hard because you feel like, oh man, I never accomplished these things. I never really complete the plan. But as you get better and better, you start to understand what you can accomplish in an amount of time. And then you can really focus on those things. And so planning has been like that next level thing for me, that it's like, okay, this is how I've really leveled up my life, is planning it all out and then organizing it with all the skill sets I have to organize, putting it together and making sure I'm executing that plan in that focus of day-to-day kind of thing. So the planning has really helped me stay focused on that weekly thing. And then 75 Hard and Faith have kind of helped me focus on the day-to-day. What practices or rituals can you incorporate to nurture your physical, mental, and emotional well-being? So those are things like inside of the Brotherhood Beyond Business Mastermind, we really focus on the 10 domains. And those are different components. It's like, it's not letting one thing in your life be more dominant than the other. So as entrepreneurs, we have a tendency to let business be our superhero area, right? The area where it's like, okay, I'm going to be the superhero at work. I'm going to be awesome and got this awesome business, but I kind of forget about the other components because maybe I'm not the Superman or superhero in that area, right? So, but you can be. You're just choosing not to be. You're choosing to be over here because it's exciting and it's like almost gamification all the time. But the other areas are kind of like messy, you got to grind through them. You got to grind through the financial stuff. That's not fun. I hate looking through my finances. I just got to do it because that's part of my job as a husband. My wife, it's not like my wife ignores that we talk about that stuff together, but one of my responsibilities in our family is to make sure that finances are organized and taken care of. I have a lot of responsibility as a man in my family. And so because of that, I've got to follow through with those components. And so I need to be a superman for my family in every single category of life and for myself too. I want to reach my full potential, but I also want to be the best version of myself for the other people in my life. My other mastermind members, I want to be great for them. For my business clients, I want to be awesome for them. My wife, I want to be amazing for her. I want to be awesome as a child of God. I have so many different areas of my life I want to be awesome at. And when I punt on, I'm just going to work on business and punt on these other things, that I'm decreasing my ability to be awesome in all these different categories. So what helps me keep focused on all those things is focusing on all those things. So I pick one habit in each of the different categories, the 10 domains, and I make sure that's habitually in my life, which means it's like when I'm focusing on, let's say I'm going to use an example of right now I'm focusing on my health. So because I'm putting so much focus on my health, I can't put as much focus on the other 9 domains. Because of that, really I have 2, like health and business are the main 2. The other 8 domains take a little bit of back seat right now. So because of that, I have to have a habit in each one of those that allows me to at least stay where I'm at in those categories while I level up the other 2 categories. And then once those 2 categories are leveled up, then I put habits in place for those as I level up another part. The idea is to kind of level up all areas so they're kind of equal across the board and across my 10 domains. And that's the game. I find that the really fun game of life, because if I can be great at so many different areas, or the best version of myself at so many areas, I might not be great at any of these things, but the best version of myself at all of these things is going to be, that's what I want to be. And so that's really what the Brotherhood Beyond Business Mastermind is about, is becoming great in as many areas as you can, or the best version of yourself in as many areas as you can. Last part of this thing, how can you align your actions with your values and priorities, living authentically and intentionally each day? So I kind of covered that. That's exactly what the business Brotherhood Beyond Business Mastermind is all about. If you truly want to become a well-rounded human, you want to become the best version of yourself in so many different areas for so many different components of life, because you love God, you love your family, you love your business, you love your clients, you love the people that you are in your life, and you want to be the best for them, then do it. You don't have to be like, just because you're watching these gurus on TV that are like the hustle culture, they're like, hey, if you just work more hours, you'll make more money and your family will be happier. I completely disagree with that. I do believe money is very important. That's why I run businesses. I mean, it's truly not. I don't run businesses because I care about money, honestly. I run businesses because I really enjoy the freedom and the creativity behind entrepreneurship. I love being able to make my own choices and build my own thing and know it's on me. It's on nobody else to do this. I love that competitive side of it. Like, hey, I can handle myself. I hate it when people get in my way, get out of my way and let me do me. That's what I want. That's why I love entrepreneurship. I think finances are important in that, because I can't run my business without a certain amount of finances. My family can't live the life we want to without those finances. But the idea is like, I don't need to become a millionaire to do that. I need to make what a healthy living is. I need to get myself to that healthy living, working towards the goal of that, but also making sure that I balance out the other components. That's my life. That's what I want to do. That's what brings me fulfillment. I'm looking for more people to join our tribe that are looking that way. It's not wrong if you're a hustle culture person and that's all you care about. And when you're on your deathbed and you're just like, cool, like I made all the money I can. I'm happy with this. I have no faith. I have no of these other things. That's fine. If that's what you want to do it. Like, this is a free country. We're in America, man. Do what you want to do. That's the way you should do it. That's not who I am. And I know that I want the well-rounded life. I want the other components in it. I want to do these things. I want to have this component. So because of that, I'm building a tribe of people that can chase after those goals, do it together, because if we start to do it together, then we'll build this like idea that like we can be more than just what everybody else is telling us to be. You can only be a great entrepreneur. You can only be a great father, family man. If I'm a great father, I can't make much money. If I'm a great entrepreneur, I can't be a great father. I don't have to be singular in all these things. Maybe I won't be the world's best entrepreneur ever. I might not make millions and millions and millions of dollars, but I'm going to be really damn good, honestly. I'm going to be a really good father. I'm going to be really strong in my faith. I'm going to have these different components. And by putting these things together, that's what allows me to live my full life. All right, guys, that's the last of Essentialism. It's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, it's worth a read. Every person that read it in our book club was kind of like, man, like, this stuff is basic. It's stuff I know, but I just need to keep being this reiterated in my life, because I keep putting too many things in my life. And I keep putting wrong priorities first. So trying to find ways to focus on your priorities, that's what you need to do. If you're somebody that wants to like level up different parts of your life and create essentialism in the rest of your life because you're focusing on these different areas and adding the essential components of each area, reach out to me. It is a male-only mastermind, or Brotherhood Beyond Business Mastermind is male only. But so I would love for you guys to join, and you have to be an entrepreneur as well to be in the group too. But I'd love for you guys to join our group. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a great day.